I just want to tell you a little bit about myself. Like I did say, I'm a dentist in New Jersey. I graduated from Northwestern for dental school long time ago, but we won't go into when that was exactly. And I have since then been doing a lot of other entrepreneurial pursuits within dentistry, and I want to be here today to be a resource to all of you with all the work that you're doing in your dental school or in pre-dental. And so a little bit about my background that got me here. I actually, when I was in undergrad, I was thinking about all the things, what would I like to see myself doing, and I pretty much reverse engineered where I wanted to be in a few years. And I actually would advise that everybody kind of think that way. So for instance, if you're a pre-dental student right now and you want to possibly have other businesses and be a dentist and maybe have a family life, what are the things that you can do to set yourself up skill-wise so that you can actually attain that? And so in doing that, it really helps because then you can pick the type of career that you want, you can pick the location that you want to end up being, you can pick the mentors that will help guide you to your ultimate goal. And so all these things are going to take you not only through your undergrad, but in dental school, and if you decide to do specialty, it'll take you in that route as well. So in the end, I would like to kind of open it up to question and answer if you guys have questions. So if you could, think about anything that you have to ask about, because I want to be able to help and bring value to all of you. A little bit more about myself. So I'm a dentist in New Jersey. I actually started working with Snoop Dogg, and we do custom mouth guards for athletes in his Snoop League, his football league in Los Angeles. So all the mouth guards that we do are custom made for professional athletes or for celebrities. So we do a lot with that. We're also working with doing a lot of content creation in terms of day in the life. So I have a videographer who basically follows me in terms of what I do and everything that I'm doing within the office and all my entrepreneurial pursuits. I also have started a voice skill, and if any of you are familiar with Alexa, we have a voice skill that actually helps students to go through DAT questions for their entrance exam into dental school. And the interesting thing about that is that voice is the future. Just like the internet started and helped all of us to be able to locate information that we need, the next 10 years, voice is going to be extremely important. So if any of you have an Alexa device, you know a little bit about that. It's actually going to be extremely important in terms of branding, and it's going to help you in terms of finding information about people that you're interested in. So it's something to really think about in terms of the future, because you all are considering possibly being in dentistry, and if doing that, one of the things that you want to think about is what are the things that are going to help you in branding yourself. And that's kind of like why I wanted to talk to you today. I think, and I would like to ask all of you by a show of hands, how many of you are really interested in social media and spend time with it on a regular basis? Okay, that's excellent. I actually feel like that's like one of the smartest moves that you can do if you're going to become a dentist. And a lot of people will tell you, oh, you need to make sure you study, you need to do well in school. I actually think your reputation, what you're doing right now to help yourself and establish who you are and what you stand for can be so critical to your success in life that you can just do so many things that just dentistry alone will not be able to offer you. For instance, if people know you for your reputation, if they know that you're a good person, if they know that you volunteer, if they know that you help in terms of other dentists in the field, more people will be attracted to you to help you in your pursuits and in your practice. So in what I do right now, I was actually featured in Gary Vaynerchuk's book, Crushing It, for TikToks that we make in our office. So now we're known as the fun office, right? So we're known as the place that actually does really crazy stuff in terms of dressing up, doing comedy acts, helping other people, and then recording it. And so that has actually developed my reputation. I've done lots of things on Instagram. I am heavy into LinkedIn. And so all these things are going to help me in terms of attracting my audience. As a general dentist, right, children as well as adults are going to be my audience. And so I reverse engineered what I need to do in terms of social media to help me to gain the audience that I want in terms of my population. Now, in terms of actual reputation and content of what you can do, you don't need to be a serious person. Right now, you're developing your reputation. Everything that you put on social media in 10 years may be looked at. And so what is it that you as a person, in terms of your personal brand, what do you want people to know about you? And that's really something you have to sit down and look through and think about it, because it's really going to determine your success. Now, if you go on to looking at your skills, are you someone who's very good at talking to people? Are you somebody that's possibly photogenic and Instagram is better for you? You know, looking at the different platforms and what you feel comfortable doing is going to really make a difference in terms of what you can do and, you know, what's going to end up being successful. Now, a little bit more about TikTok. So I was in Gary Vaynerchuk's book regarding TikTok and the videos that we do. We actually bring in my team to be a part of the TikToks. And I encourage all of you to follow me on all the platforms. I have some business card here as well as some pop sockets for you guys to remember me by. But it would be great if you guys could see some of the things that we're doing in our office, because you could see how we're trying to spread positivity in terms of the image of dentistry and also giving value back to the community in terms of education as well as entertainment, right? Because you know what's ridiculous is that of all the professions that you can think of, dentistry gets the worst rap. Whenever there's a bad guy in a movie, who is the person that's a bad guy? It's the dentist, right? Whenever you hear, even in Finding Nemo, there was a dentist, and I was like so heartbroken. I was watching the movie with my friends, and they all looked at me like, I can't believe you're going to be a dentist. Like, you know, it's really unfortunate, but that's the image that TV has basically portrayed of us. So it's up to us to take that control back. It's up to us to be able to, you know, decide what the narrative is. Nobody else is going to take care of us. So your personal brand is going to make the difference in terms of who you are and the image that you portray to the world. And you're the one in control of that. It's not Amazon. It's not, you know, a dental school. It's not your parents. It's you. And you have control of whether people think something of you or not. If somebody says something really horrendous about you, what is the best way that you're going to be able to take care of that so that it's actually not perpetuated? You use your personal brand to give your message. And The Rock is the best person and best example of that. I mean, he's able to essentially tell everybody what the real story is when they come up to him about something that's untrue. And that's the reason the personal branding is extremely important. A little bit more about Dental Flash Go. So like I mentioned to you, we have a voice skill that's actually providing questions. It's an educational bank that has multiple choice questions that are available. So if you are preparing for an exam and you're working out, you don't really have access to index cards or a book to be able to practice for the exam. So what's the best way to go about it? You can download the Alexa app on your phone and actually listen to questions. Now it's currently in beta. It's going to be coming out in a few months, but it's the best way to be able to prepare for an exam and get those extra questions in that'll give you an advantage over others that you may not have had otherwise. Because we're so busy these days, every minute counts. Like when we're in the car, you know, you don't want to be on your phone while you're driving. You may be driving 30 minutes. So the most important thing is trying to be able to have additional access. So we're actually doing it for the DAT, for dental board exams, and the Part 2 exam that is actually changing. So it's something to keep in mind, to keep us in your mind in terms of in the future when you're preparing for your dental exams, that Dental Flash Go is going to be the preeminent way of learning. And it's not only just dental, we have Medical Flash Go and other professions as well that we're representing, but it just shows you where Alexa is going and where voice is going. How many of you have an Alexa right now in your home or know something about it? Okay, Okay, that's a good number. So it's something to think about. You don't need an Alexa device. You can actually download the app on your phone and you can learn more about it. But it's really going to change the platform as to how we learn. It's going to be the next internet, like I mentioned before. And if you can really take advantage of it, as I mentioned before, your personal brand is everything. I think actually having a personal brand in voice is going to be the next frontier. So that's what I'm currently working on myself, is developing a brand on voice. And I encourage all of you to look into it as well. There's flash briefings that are free that you can develop. And then there's voice skills that are a little bit more expensive, obviously, to set up. And Afreen here is actually helping me with the dental fascicle. And this is actually the first time that I was able to meet up with her. So I'm super excited about that. But I actually want to open up to any questions that you may have just in dentistry in general. And I know I heard some questions earlier, but I want to be a resource to all of you aside from what I'm doing. And I definitely want to keep in touch with everyone. If you have questions, feel free to DM me on Instagram. Sure.
My question is, do you think that people are less afraid of the dentist after watching your content on like TikTok or anything?
That's a good question. I actually feel like, well, a lot of the comments are, I wish I was able to come to your office if they live in like California. That's what they'll say. I think it's actually helping the greater good of dentistry, because I'm not pretending like it's fun to go to the dentist. Let's keep that clear first, right? I actually admit that I understand that people have a problem with it. So trying to address that and make them feel better about it, I think is the benefit of it. And then, it happens to go viral, then, people in my area will possibly see it. So it's kind of an interesting thing. Some of my Facebook ad posts that I've used TikTok for have gone viral. And so it's enabled some help in that sense where people find out about me that didn't know me. But it's kind of funny because when you do, those of you that know TikTok, there's some nuances with it. So like when you do it, and then you realize people are finding out about you from TikTok, and then you're like, do I really want them to know that I do these TikToks? Because you're embarrassing yourself. It's really a kind of a funny, in the beginning, it's a funny loop. Like you have to kind of get over caring what other people think, you know what I mean? Is there any other questions? So I just wanted to really quickly give you guys a few, I would like to give you a few pointers about dental school and applying. I actually think one incredible thing, because we were talking about social media, is to find mentors online. Like it's so easy. Some of you were mentioning that you don't have anyone local. It's really easy nowadays to develop a network online. I've DM'd celebrities. I'm doing voice skills for celebrities now. I've DM'd celebrities. I've DM'd different other doctors. And you can develop a network, because when you find value and you can provide value to the other person, they're really inclined to help you. So for instance, what are ways that you as a student can provide value? If you found a dentist that you really wanted to get to know and learn from, and hopefully they'll mentor you, you could go onto their page and like all their posts. You could comment. Every time they post something, comment. You could share the posts that they have. That's just like the minimum that you can do, that you don't have to spend additional money. And you can develop a great relationship with someone that way. The other thing you can do is find out what is important to them. If it's important to them to meet and get new patients for their office, find a way that you can try to refer people in their area so that they get new patients, and ask them to mention your name. There's many ways that you can do it. And as the other speaker mentioned before, going to the dental associations, there's a slew of dentists that always want to help. And there's also board meetings. So as a board member of the Hudson Dental Society, we have meetings on a regular basis, and we actually invite students, whether they're undergraduate or in dental school, to come to the meetings to learn about some different things that are happening. Not only does it help your resume for when you get into school to be able to say you took the initiative to do that, but you're actually also meeting a lot of people. And by doing that, you meet, like 50 dentists, and you're the only student. It's just a matter of odds that you're going to be able to develop some strong relationships with someone. Another tip I would recommend is make sure that you also try to network with other people in other schools, because there's lots of things that are happening that you may not know about from your school. And if you network with people who have similar goals to you, that are trying to do the same things as you can do and find out some things that you may not have found out before. And lastly, I would suggest to make sure, take time to actually follow someone in their office and see if what is happening on a day-to-day basis is interesting to you. We see all these reality shows and they make seeming like being a dentist can possibly be a difficult profession, but it could be something that's really joyful to you if you were able to find the right person to emulate. When I was in dental school, I actually worked as a dental assistant and in the evenings to help with sterilization and different things. It gave me the best experience that dental school never offered, which is how do you run an office? What are the things that I like and dislike about what someone else is doing? And it really gave me a stepping stone to what I wanted to do and see in my own office when I graduated. When I was in undergrad, I actually followed quite a few dentists in their office to see what they were doing. And that, again, that gave me a boost because I knew when I graduated from dental school, the area that I wanted to live in, the type of practice that I wanted to have. And I'm slowly, even after so many years, still working on that. So it's always a work in progress. But I really appreciate your time today. I have also some pop sockets here, if any of you want one. And I would love for you to come up and ask me any questions you have, or if you want to DM me, feel free to do so. But thank you so much.
How important is it to hire somebody who has a very good social media background, a huge following, opposed to a dentist who may be better skillful? What do you consider more? Somebody who has a better social media.
What do you think the public, the customer, the patient thinks about? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying how important is it to hire a dentist who has a very good social media, a very big social media following, opposed to a dentist who may not have as big of a social media following, but maybe a better, maybe do a better job. You know what I mean?
So first and foremost, always the clinician that has the best skills is the most important, because you may have the best skills and I can show you how to do social media very easily, and I could actually use maybe some of my followers to get your follower count up or to get your more exposure. So it's always going to be skills first, but I would say follower count is not important to me, it's engagement. The comments, if that person has 2 comments and has a million followers, there's something amiss there, and that's just something about their integrity. If they bought Instagram followers, I wouldn't want someone like that. So I think the engagement is important. I think you can learn a lot about a person from their social media. So if I was going to hire someone, I would look and see what are they about. Do they respond to people? Do they talk about product dentistry? Do they seem at least somewhat interested in this? I can help them get their count up. But are they interested in talking about themselves? Because that's going to be important to market the office.
Yeah, the reason I'm asking because I follow a lot of these dentists that on Instagram, and I see that they get hired by other bigger dentists. So I want to know, in the mind of the dentist who's hiring, are you taking into account their dental work or their followers?
Yeah. So I think that there are a lot of people who have both. They have high following count and they're very good clinically. But I would say a lot of people, they're also fronting, to be honest with you. What it is that they're doing may not necessarily be what you really see. And there could be other factors. For instance, they may have gotten paid a certain amount of money. There's a lot of things that go into it. But just like a resume, right? When you apply to school, you have your extracurriculars, MBA, all these things that you take into consideration. You do the same thing when you're hiring someone. But I don't think it's one or the other. But for instance, if that person's going to bring a lot of business to me, you definitely have to take that into consideration if they seem like they have a lot of engagement.
Thank you so much.
Sure.
I don't know how long I should stay.
Nice to meet you. See you. Nice to meet you.
My question is, in regards to personal branding and using social media, how would you recommend getting started? I'm a little, I'm a little little hesitant about because like I maybe don't use social media all that often. So,
Yeah. So I would say think about your skills. Like, what are you think you're good at? Like, if you're like, some people are extroverts, some people are more introverts, and they like to write more. So if you like to write more, like there's this, there's Medium where you can write articles about dentistry, and people can learn more about you. If you like being in front of the camera, then you could do something related to either documenting, like I'm documenting everything I'm doing. So I have somebody that follows me where I go, and everything gets documented so that I can share my message to more people, right? And then you don't spend more time. I'm not sitting there creating a TikTok, like somebody actually is videographing like the whole situation, right? So you save time in that sense because I'm not having to actually build the creative side of it. So it depends what your interests are. But I would say just put a post. Because what is stopping you now from doing it?
Nothing really.
What if you took a post of you and me here, and that was your first post? Like, you say about your experience at the Greater New York Company. That would be an excellent post to start with. And then people start writing comments about it, and then you get an idea of what the next step is. You know what I mean? So we should take a picture. Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Sure. Tag me on it, and I'll post it on my Insta stories.
All right.
Yeah. So I don't know. How do you say your name? Ilorana, registered Okay. Are you guys the hiring? Finding really good
You're waiting
people
for
that care about your business and
Oh, okay. Hi, I'm Steve.
I mean, it's still always a work in progress, to be honest with you. I actually find that the dentist part is the easiest part, and that's kind of interesting. There's an aspect of how much time I spend in the office, because I'll spend like 5 days in the office, but like then people don't know, like there's times I go to the office almost every day. Sunday, Saturday, I'm there doing administrative things. And so I think like your time is not yours all the time. Like you get pulled in different directions, so that's hard too. But I definitely would say hiring, the way to overcome that is to build a brand. I always go back to brand. Build a brand where people like everything you're about and they come to you. Right? Like if everybody knows about me,
Unless you want to be a leader.
I'm going to get 2,000 resumes, and people are going to want to work for my office. Where this guy down the street is not going to get a professional, right?
You started just like
I don't remember which is the first one, but I started with different ones and then from there.
Oh, I think I'm
Stay in touch. Okay?
Yeah,
Good luck
absolutely.
to you. Good luck
I
to you.
believe so.
Are you doing Monday to Sunday?
Yes.
Hi, how are you?
Kayla, nice to meet you. You're from the Bronx? Nice. Yes.
So I wanted to ask you a couple of questions.
Wait, was it canceled? Oh, my baby. I see.
I wanted to know, like, how do you come up with it's all those
Oh, yeah.
So what would you as a person outside, maybe like around an hour away, what do you consider to be bad?
I mean, if you're looking like 24/7.
It still takes
You're
me
looking,
an
I'm sorry?
Like I know what you like 24/7.
Yeah.
No, not like showing the side of you that should not be shown in public.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think you're right with that, because how I look at it is, we all like to have fun, so there's certain things that you have to share, right? And I think you know, so because you know you're already a step ahead of everybody else, I think try to keep it positive and think, well, if I saw this myself, would this make me inclined to go and seek this person out for expert help?
Okay.
And I think just, you can't really go wrong as long as you have good intentions about what you're trying to do. I mean, if I'm trying to help other people and I talk about my journey, this is something that a lot of people don't know, but like if you started talking about your journey as a pre-dental student and you kept talking about it as you went to dental school, as you became a dentist, that's an amazing story. Like I don't have the ability to do that because I wasn't documenting as I went along. But if you were to talk about, oh my gosh, I can't believe I got a 79 on this test. Most people would be like, why have you did that? But I'm actually trying to be real. I'm trying to let people know that I did this and this, and I overcame that so that I could become this successful person. That's like the American story. Like everybody wants to hear like the imperfection and the perfection. We're kind of stuck in like with Instagram. Everybody's trying to pretend like they're perfect. I actually think we should try to pretend like we're ourselves and show like the real story and who we're about. And like, yeah, I had to go to the store today to get my mom her pills because she's not able to get to the store. Like all these stories that could possibly happen, like it's not, you're not seeing it. And so that's what I would say. So I would say like a lot of people think that that's bad content when I don't show myself positively, and I disagree with that.
So, like, everyone's trying to go like viral, whatever, and like, you know, shop TikToks and things like viral. And I keep seeing these videos over and over again about air dancing and whatnot. So, what's your input on that? Like, so people like a new dance moves or whatever, a song maybe, a bit provocative or whatever. So when you're first starting, you might say something. What are your inputs on that? Like, you know, those type of things.
Yeah. So my thing is, be careful who you include in your TikToks. If you're gonna have somebody, as you know, we have different rules as I do, right? I'm a dentist, and so I have different rules I have to follow with who I include in my office. I have to have them sign a consent, make sure that they're okay with it because it's a HIPAA violation otherwise. So those are things that I have to think about. But aside from that, you know, that was something I overcame. I was one of the first people on TikTok, and I had to make the decision: is this, because I was on it when it was Musical.ly, when it first came out. And I had to think, like, is this really good for my brand, for me to be doing, like, this stuff? Like, is that really something I want people to see? And then I thought about it, and I'm like, I'm not doing, going back to what we were just talking about, I'm not doing any harm by dancing. I'm not doing work in the middle of work. I'm a real patient. I'm actually setting up scenarios where it's, like, actors, and I'm doing these TikToks, right? So I'm not causing harm to anyone. I've seen people who have done TikToks and dancing and stuff like that with actual patients while they're doing treatment, and you know it is because it's during surgery, and that obviously you can't do. Yeah, because you don't want all the dentists to have an issue with you because you're doing things, you know, people try too hard to get the followers and the likes. My thing is build up slowly. Don't try to do things for the likes. Do it for the brand, right? Like I could do a TikTok of me running through here, like jumping up and down, and I'm making 1 million views. But is that part of the brand that I'm trying to portray? Or am I just doing it for the likes? You know what I mean? So it's like a real philosophical question. You have to like dig deep to think like, what is it I'm trying to bring across here? And like what some people do is they'll develop a calendar. Like I'm gonna do a TikTok regarding this, I'm gonna do this, and that way you're staying true to your brand.
It's actually what I do with my club. I'm part of the dental club in my school, and
cool.
they made me the webmaster. I'm really good at it.
Nice.
So I have a schedule every.
What school are you from?
College Dynamic.
Okay.
So every day I have like meet Mondays, fun Fridays, and Thursdays, and try to do that. But that's like for the the business, I guess. For the club, but with my own person, I just do whatever.
I think you should apply the same principles, and then you'll know you're on brand in terms of what you're trying to do. You don't obviously want it to be too like uptight either. Like sometimes you want to be able to just do whatever, and I think that's what people like. They don't like too polished. They like to see like like different people doing things. They don't necessarily want like the polished filming either. Sometimes they like it when it's like all vibrating and it's like a different angle. So it's interesting what people like. Like we don't even know what people like. I posted something the other day with a tangerine on a TikTok, and it was a song about an orange, and people got hung up on the fact I had a tangerine in my hand. Like, you know what I mean? Like, people get hung up on things, and you don't even know that that's entertaining to them. But in the comments now, we're like all discussing about this. You know what I mean? So, like, my thing is too, like, we don't even know what we should be posting. Like, everybody else is the one that decides what's good and not. So that's interesting, but yeah, I'd love to see like what you guys are doing in your club, like what you're doing.
If you want to follow us on our page,
Sure.
okay.
Whatever you do or don't say about it, general dentist.
you're a student, you have other things to do. So like you have to prioritize like what's important. Like maybe your personal brand is important, and to be perfectly honest, maybe your personal brand is more important than this club's brand. So you have to like make those decisions. Like where do you want to put your time into? Like it's great, we all have great ambitions, and we want to be always do like the best. But you have to also think about like you're number one. And it's not selfish to you. Like mostly about your brand. You're working so hard.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's nice to meet you too. Precious. I love your name. I was just watching an animation last night, and there was one of them was named Precious. And you're like, oh, that's a beautiful name.
And I always get that. Honestly, I was still like inspired like when we were talking about like personal branding, because like I feel like I've been interested in dentistry for a long time, and like it's like a little backstory. Like I didn't do high school here, but I did it in Nigeria, and like I came back to like do college, and like I feel like for me, I've been like into school for a long time, and like I mean I'm on Instagram, and like I love like social media, but I feel like there's this like part of me that feels like, oh, it's just like social media, like you can't combine like your academic side with like what you like, and like I sing, so I feel like
Oh my gosh.
and like I've been singing for like like since when I was 10, and like I still do like in church, like in school I'm taking like music classes, and I just feel like it's hard for me to like because like my love for dentistry and like my artistic side is just like this summer it was like just so difficult for me to like come out. I think I'm quite introvert. Like it's just so hard. So I don't like. How did you how did you just like come out of like that shell? Like just decide that like I'm gonna do this? Because I mean when we were talking, like when I saw you listening, I was like, oh, let me just go tip. And like I was like, wow, like this is kind of like me. I could do this, but I'm just like I'm scared to. Like how did you like? Like how did you what inspired you? How were you able to like break that shell?
So I think, I'll be honest with you, the people that do the best are the people that have like outside interests, and they do different things, and they talk about like the trials and tribulations of what they're doing. And so I would say start easy and start where you don't feel like you're exposing too much of yourself if that's important to you, right? So if you feel like what's holding you back is that you're afraid what other people will say, then I would say just don't necessarily do anything where people would be overly judgmental, right? So like maybe it's a post, like I was telling the other gentleman, he asked me the same question. I told him, let's take a picture of ourselves, and that's going to be your first post. Because, I mean, whatever anybody says, they're going to be saying about me too, right? So there's nothing bad's going to happen. I think getting over that initial hump, just doing it, and then see what the engagement. 50,000 people responded to it, you would know that you're onto something there. And I was just telling the other person, there's no bad content. Like everything that's about who you are is your personal brand, and people are gonna have respect for you for talking about it. Like nowadays, when people open up a dental office, they don't start seeing patients the day the office is open. They're talking about all the trials and tribulations that they went through before they were able to set up the office. And so they talk. There's like some where they're crying because like the contractor wasn't able to get things done. So it's like they're allowing themselves to be vulnerable, and those are the people that are getting viral views on their videos because they're willing to do that. And I always say, like, what's the worst? Whenever I think about anything, what's the worst that could happen? Like you could get 10 million comments of people saying they don't like you. Are you okay with that? That's fine, because you're doing something for yourself. You're not posting it for other people, you're posting it for yourself. When I first posted on TikTok, which was Musically before, I had people come on there and say, there's people who came on there and said, like, you're too old. There's still people who come in and say, I'm too old to be on here. I don't care, because like my goal, and this is what you have to keep thinking about, what I want to do in my life is here. And what they're talking about is down here. So I'm not letting that prevent me from getting to where I want to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like that's how I kind of how I view it.
And it's so weird because like I was telling my friends like because I decided to take a gap year, and like like most of my friends are like, I should try to like go to like American like Got Talent or something. I'm like, is that really what Precious wants to do now? But,
Wow,
like,
so they really think Precious is good. That's
and, like,
amazing.
it's crazy because I was thinking about the future, and I think like it's something hard for me to think about. But like with you now, it just like gives me that inspiration that I could like do anything like I did. Because I was thinking like, how do I blend like being a dentist and also like train my artistic side or maybe like being a celebrity or something. Like I feel like it's a dream kind of, but like when things happen to me, I just feel like they happen for a reason. You know,
I'm like that too.
I really appreciate you coming to that, and it just, I don't know, it just.
You know what I want to tell you? Like, there's a person who's a wrestler with the AEW, which is a wrestling league, and she's a dentist, Dr. Britt Baker, out of Pennsylvania. So she practices, and then on her off time, she wrestles. And she has one of the biggest followings. People really respect her because she's doing so many different things. And it's incredible, like all this stuff that's happening. So like, there's another person who's an Olympian. She wakes up at 4 o'clock. She runs to prepare for the Olympics, and then at 8 o'clock goes to the office to see patients. I'm like in awe of these people because like your generation, like the things you guys are doing is like so amazing to me, and everybody, it resonates with, you know, common people. Like to see somebody who's going through all these things to become successful, like it resonates with people. They want to see that those people who are different. You know, the old days of just being a dentist and being a serious dentist, like that's where you have to get over that. I used to think you have to go to work, wear a suit.
That's always what I think about.
I always was trying to be too serious, and nobody, honestly, like nobody liked me, and I thought I was doing the right thing, but nobody was really responding to me. Like you have to not think of the profession that way. It's not that serious. If you have the talent that other people are saying that you do, you definitely, like you're actually not giving us like the full Precious. You know what I mean? We're seeing only part of Precious. And it would be great to see like all of her because everybody else wants to see it. You know, the market basically has spoken. If your friends are saying they want to see that, they want you on TV, everybody's already saying they want to see it. You're the only one that's thinking about it, and that's what happens as dentists. We think, we're analytical, we think a lot, like, is this the pros and cons of going on social media? You know what I mean? Like, we'll sit there and think about it. Meanwhile, everybody else is doing it. We're still thinking about it. 5 years go by, 10 years go by, 15 years go by, and then suddenly we're like, okay, maybe it's time to do it. And already the market's saturated. We waited till someone else did it, and then we thought it was okay. Why is it that other people have to make it okay? You know what I mean? So I think you should go for it. And tag me when you do.
I told you already, so I'm just like, I mean,
No, tag me when you make the post. Yeah, I want to see them.
Yeah.
I want to see them.
Thank you so much.
Stay in touch. Yeah, stay in touch, okay? Good luck to you.